So with unit conversions, this could be a question on its own, or it could also be a question within a question where you have to convert. So for example, this is asking you to convert 60 miles per hour to meters per second. So to set up unit conversions, this is kind of like chemistry conversions. You have 60 miles over hours. And our goal is to do meters over seconds, which means we need to convert miles to meters, hours to seconds. You would probably be given somewhere that 1 mile is 1609 meters. On a homework, you'd probably have to look it up. On a test, it would be provided. You're not supposed to memorize that. So, okay, get rid of miles. So if miles is on the top, then put 1 mile on the bottom, and on top you put 1609 meters. Miles cancels. Hours to seconds, you should know 60 seconds to a minute, 60 minutes to an hour, and 60 times 60 is 3,600 seconds. The reason why I'm putting that on the bottom is because I'm going to put hours on top, so hours over hours reduces. And now in my calculator, I'll do 60 times 1609 on top. On bottom, I'm dividing by 3,600, and I'll get to, one decimal place, 26.8 meters per second. Now, if we all of a sudden run into square units, then, well, we know for every, let's see, 1 foot, there's going to be 12 inches. But with square units, you got to be careful. So for every 1 foot squared, so for every 1 foot, there's 12 inches, but you have to square everything, the numbers and the units. So feet squared and feet squared would cancel, but then you'd have 12 squared over 1 square, which is 144 square inches. And visually, considering this, if you had 12 inches by 12 inches, that's 1 square foot, and 12 times 12 is 144. So you have to factor in squares or even cubic if you're dealing with volume. Also, you might be given one that is a combination. Convert 1 hectare to square inches, and you're given the following two conversions. So for every 1 hectare, we're going to go ahead and say for every 1 hectare, there is, let's see, 10,000 square meters, so meters squared. Okay, well, now we're going to go from meters to centimeters, and then from centimeters to inches to get all the way done. So for every 1, let's see, meter, we need to know there's 100 centimeters. Those are your standard conversions, and we need to square everything. I'm not squaring hectares because hectare is already a square unit. It's already a measurement of area. So you're not going to be squaring hectares because a hectare is equal to a squared unit. Kind of like acreage is already squared. All right, and then let's see. Now we're going to convert for every 2.54 centimeters, there's 1 inch, and we're going to square all that. So ultimately, hectares reduces, meters squared reduces, and centimeters squares reduces. In your calculator, you would do 10,000 on top times 100 squared times 1 squared, technically, because of 1 inch, divided by on the bottom 2.54 squared. And you would get for square inches 155,00031 inches squared, which they would probably go ahead and do scientific notation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1.55 times 10 to the 7 square inches, or maybe 1.6 times 10 to the 7 square inches is what I expect they would do. Lastly, your standard units are going to be, your standard international units, your SI units are going to be meters, kilograms, and seconds. So they're going to call it L for length for meters, M, which is mass for kilograms, and then T, time in seconds. So you might be asked something like, what are the standard units for power if power is force times velocity and force is in newtons? And you're going to be learning about all these different types as you progress in the course. So power is equal to force times velocity. You're going to learn that force is equal to mass times acceleration. Mass is kilograms. Now be careful. This is M for mass. Acceleration is meters per second squared. This is M for meters. So you really got to be careful. I'll do that again, okay? Like this M is not the same as this M. Here we have mass, acceleration, velocity. Now we're converting them to units. Kilograms, meters over second squared. Velocity is meters per second. So that's kilograms, meters times meters is meters squared. Second squared times seconds is second cubed. So that'd be kilograms, meters squared, seconds to -3 if they want to bring it up. And then they might put it into standard L, M, and T. So kilograms is mass, they'll call it capital M. Meters is length, so they'll call that length squared. And then time to the -3 is how you might see it written. So there you go with some unit conversions, some square conversions, and dealing with your standard units.